What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me as always is the man behind the magic, you know him as Joe Garcia.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Glad to be back after the holiday break. Let's go ahead and talk some geeky headlines, man. Glad to be back on here with you, Ted, and of course, Maddie B, my fellow beer drinker here. So,
Here we go. Here
you
we go.
got one,
Here we
Maddie?
go.
You ready?
Well,
Oh,
I
there you
am,
go.
I am though. But
There you
Joe,
go.
and as much as I love you, I could tell that's a Miller Lite and a Bud Light koozie. What are we doing there?
Well, the reason why is because I have this on the.
Okay. Okay. So I will step back because the Spurs overrules any other branding on the koozie.
Yes,
So
me and Maddie stay on brand, man. We stay on brand. You see that?
we're trying to get a sponsorship. Miller Lite, if you're watching, me and Joe could use a couple free
Yeah,
12
man.
packs.
Give us something. Give us
We,
something. We stay
we
on
spin it
brand.
up. Let's go.
And last but never the least, my partner in crime, the one and only Matty B.
I'm feeling jolly. You might understand why because of what we're going to be talking about here today. But also, we're coming up on that season, and we have exciting things to talk about
Yeah.
with the Geekcast, with Ghost Heads, and all kinds of stuff. I'm excited, Ted. Take it away. Let's just get this thing over with.
Let's get into it. And you know what? Why don't we just start there? Let's kind of talk about what's going to happen this week, and hope you folks are watching and you're taking some notes down because it's a very exciting week. If you've been following us on the Ghost Heads radio show, we've been talking to multiple chapters, multiple Ghostbusters chapters across the country. We've been talking to them and we've been asking them about putting together a massive toy drive campaign that's going to be nationwide. And we're close to 40 groups that have jumped on board. Close, not exactly 40, but close to 40 chapters that have all jumped on board who are going to be a part of this massive campaign. And we're going to launch the toy drive on Wednesday. So, tomorrow on the Ghost Heads radio show, what we're going to do is highlight all the chapters that are going to be a part of this massive toy drive campaign. No matter where you are in the country, you are going to have an opportunity to hopefully um, donate and be a part of this massive campaign effort. So tomorrow, November 29th on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Central, join the Ghost Heads Radio live stream where we announce all the chapters involved and when and where you can find them to donate and support this massive effort. Wednesday, the New York City Ghostbusters will do a live toy drive telethon where they will have all of these chapters on to talk about the organizations and the charity organizations that they're supporting, and it's such a massive effort. It's taken months to put this together, and we are ready to get this thing rolling. It's very exciting. Everybody's hyped up. Maddie, you're hyped up, right, Maddie?
Of course, I'm hyped up, and it was months in the making, and it was a bit of an effort, but nowhere near what I thought it would take to donate as many toys as I think we can donate. I'm thinking 100,000 toys. 100,000 toys. It's 3 weeks. It's 40 chapters. If I'm doing the math right, if everyone does their best, I'm thinking that we can get 100,000 toys donated on behalf of Ghostbusters franchises and just nerds in general. Somebody who is willing to stand out in front of a cardboard box and say, "Hey, put one here so we can give it to somebody who needs it." It's not asking that much, and it was a minimal effort, honestly, in getting all this together. I'm very proud of what we've done. I'm proud of the NYC group for joining on. I'm proud of everyone who signed up, and I'm just ready to see what we can do in the next 3 weeks. I'm hyped.
Absolutely. And Legacy Nerds in the chat. He's already saying he's going to pick up some Power Ranger toys to donate. Kids would love that. The kids are absolutely going to love that. If you're in the San Antonio area, I won't tease this. I'll go ahead and let you know. And then you can also check back in on our stream tomorrow. But we are going to be hosting probably multiple locations for the toy drive, but primarily will be Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy Comic Shop, the Alamo Ranch location. It's right at the intersection of 1604 Northwest and Highway 151 in the Alamo Ranch shopping center. Yeah, it's a big shopping center, but you can miss it. It's like right in the middle of everything, and it's exactly where we had our toy drive last year. And I think it's one of the reasons why it was so successful is because there was just so many people that were there, and it was a tremendous success, and we want to replicate that success. And so we're going with our friends over at Dragon's Lair, the Alamo Ranch location, which I don't even know how many live streams we've done there. I feel like we've done over a dozen already. But they're
Friends of
just
the program. Friends of the program.
friends of the program. They're the absolute best, and we can always count on them when we need something. So they're going all out for us, and we appreciate them immensely. Check them out. I'll be sure to talk about them tomorrow on the stream. And lastly, the two organizations that the San Antonio Ghostbusters are supporting will be the Big Brothers Big Sisters program and the CASA group, the Children's Advocacy Group of San Antonio. So two fantastic organizations that have children as their focus. We want to help as many kids, and we want to basically change and have a positive impact with as many families as possible this holiday season. So more to come tomorrow. Join the stream, the Ghost Heads Radio Show tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll have a blast, and I just can't believe it. We're almost there. We're about to do this. It's right around the corner. So yeah. We also got a tremendous show for you guys. We're going to be talking all about episodes 4 and 5 of Titans, catching up on the episodes that we missed last week. We instead did a tribute to Jason David Frank, who passed just shockingly. And we're going to be catching up on Titans. That's why I got the Superboy shirt on. And we're also going to be talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which dropped on the Disney Plus streaming service last week. That's why Maddie's got his hoodie on. But first, we haven't spoken to Joe yet about the Andor season 1 finale. If you caught us last week, we were joined by the Legacy of Nerd. We did a season 1 finale review. It was Wednesday morning. It was the earliest we've ever done a stream, I think. But we gave sort of our discussions. We gave our thoughts on our instant reaction on the episodes. And so now we want to ask Joe. Joe, now that Andor's done, well, at least the first season, we knew there was going to be two seasons. No matter what, there's going to be two seasons. Season 1 is done. Did it meet your expectations? Were you engaged? Did it live up to the hype? Give us your thoughts, man.
Actually, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, man. And I had high expectations coming in when they announced Andor. I was excited because I loved Rogue One. I thought Rogue One is probably one of the best Star Wars films out there. And coming in with, expectations of what Andor really was going to be, and then watching the first 3 episodes, I got to tell you, man, it was a slow burn. And then getting through this whole season was a struggle, dude. It was really slow paced,
Yeah, for sure.
and I just felt like it was just kind of stretched out, like me and Maddie had been saying. I think we both had the same assumption about it, that some of these episodes, they just went on too long instead of just getting right to the point, and I think that was the consensus of this whole season, pretty much summed up, meaning it was just a little bit of a disappointment. I'm going to be honest with you. While I got to commend everybody for the cinematography, costume design, CGI, um, character development. I thought all that was great. I just felt that the pacing and the story was a little lacking, and that's just my honest opinion. Am I going to be looking forward to season 2? Of course, and I just hope that some of the issues that they had in season 1 are rectified.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree with you, Joe. And I've been like sort of like pulling this in on my own. I haven't gone back and watched a few of the episodes, and I keep hearing the word slow burn, and that makes a lot of sense. But almost with the Star Wars fandom is seeming more like a game of chicken. So I relate slow burn. So I don't know if you ever played this game with your friends. There was a game back in the day when we would strike a match, and whoever let go of it first lost. It was a game of chicken.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Andor is. It's like everyone struck a match. It's a slow burn, and we're just waiting to see who says it sucks first. And you know what I mean? Whoever gives out first is the one who's a hater and doesn't really like what's going on, or they don't understand Star Wars or whatever else. And the person who got their fingers burned from the slow burn and realized that it was just a silly game. I'm starting to think that about it of this series, if that makes sense at all.
It makes sense, but just from a perspective of someone who has high expectations of Star Wars, because I've been a fan for many years and watched some of the original films in the theater, except for the first one, A New Hope. I was there to watch, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, all the prequel trilogies, even the new trilogies that came out with my kids, and everything else in between, And I just got to say, I just think that it could have been done a little bit better, as far as the execution goes. I just, again, pacing was an issue for me. As far as this overall storyline, it was, I thought it was good. It wasn't something that just came out and wowed me, though, but
Yeah.
I did like the way that they did kind of go in a different tangent. They went away from anything that had to do with Sith or Jedi or the Force, anything of that nature. And to me, that was a really good, refreshing story to me. Of introducing new characters and really letting the fans see some of these places that they've only kind of read about. Mostly, we haven't really seen a lot of these, let's say, characters in action, like Mon Mothra. You know, which is really cool to see her development, I gotta say. But yeah, man, there's some little things that they needed to tweak. But hey, it was a solid in my opinion. It was a solid B.
All right.
It just can't I just can't give it an A. I'm just being honest.
No, I gotcha. I think it could have been, like you mentioned, probably slightly more engaging. I think, and actually, I'm going to read David's quote real quick. Andor was what I thought it was going to be, in my opinion. Yeah, more of a. We kind of talked about a spy thriller going into this. We had everybody on to talk about episode one when it dropped. And so we were kind of all on that same page. It's going to be more drama based, more Sopranos kind of a thing, more of a spy thriller. I think the only thing I would have done differently is had less characters. When we got to the finale, I'm like, we've been following this guy for the entire first season, and yet like he really doesn't have a whole lot to do right now, or he really isn't impacting the plot as much. You probably could have done without him. I think we have too many characters that we're trying to focus on, and yeah, like three, maybe four really high profile ones that we should just follow along the way, like Andor, Mon Mothma, Luthen, and probably Deidre. But I that's what I would just stop right there. Like everybody else, either need to be pulled back a little bit more, or you really need to commit to those supporting characters with one of these top four. That way we're not wasting too much time. I think we were doing a lot of things with these subplots, and by the end of season one, some of those subplots aren't as satisfying as I would like for them to be. Regardless, I enjoyed season one immensely. Diego Luna's fantastic in this role. The Luthen character is fantastic. We saw him do some cool things in this first season, so I really appreciate all that. And yeah, can't wait to see where they go with season two, because season two is the point, anyways. Like season two is where we're supposed to be headed. Season one is just a setup. Legacy Nerd says, "Whoa, he remembers all that." What was Abraham Lincoln like in person? Kidding, kidding. David also says, I don't think Andor sucked. Andor just wasn't traditional Star Wars. No Force users, no lightsabers. It was espionage, origins of the rebellion, Maul named, really. Yeah. No, no, no. I we can't disagree with that whatsoever. Definitely a different take in the Star Wars universe. I still enjoyed it. It kind of felt extremely refreshing in that regard. Um, I hope they do more of it. The whole like when it gets down to Luthen really like playing chess, like I think that's what I enjoy the most. is when you kind of see his plan unfolding, and he's having to move his pieces, and we're learning like the responsibility and the sacrifices he's willing to make as a leader. Like we kind of got a lot of that in the last 2 or 3 episodes. That's all really impactful stuff. I'm
Yeah,
really invested
but
in that.
it wasn't.
Luthen's
It
killing
wasn't.
it.
It wasn't what a lot of Star Wars fans wanted, myself included. And it wasn't. It just wasn't. We wanted to see Mon Mothma not trying to do sideways deals and um, doing an arranged marriage with her daughter. We wanted to see her working in the Senate. We wanted to see some of the politics involved in what Mon Mothma had going on at the time.
Mhm.
A lot of her storyline was abandoned in the second half of um, the first season. And Luthen's cool, don't get me wrong. But how much Luthen did we even get in those um, past couple episodes? Like barely any. We didn't.
We got a ton of Luthen the last
No,
two,
no,
three
no.
episodes.
Sorry. I misspoke. I meant Andor. We
Oh
didn't get
yeah.
any of our main character in the last two episodes. He had like a total of 5 minutes screen time. Um, and so there's just it's okay. It's an all right series. I don't hate them for making it. I will be tuned in for season two, but this wasn't all inspiring fucking TV. It just wasn't.
Oh man, they're calling you out, Maddie. They said, I bet David Lozano put, I bet if it was Bryce Dallas Howard was
Yeah,
in
but
it, Maddie B would love it. Hey
yeah,
man,
but
I love
but
me
you're
some
not
Bryce Dallas.
but you're not in on the joke. So I was on Star Wars Stuff podcast.
I watched it when it happened.
And they were hazing one of their members. I guess one of the things that they have to do is give a goofy Star Wars stat or a bio each week for a new member. And the guy was going through Yaddle over and over and over again. I said, "Is that Bryce Dallas Howard making a joke because she had red hair?" And it turned out that Bryce Dallas Howard played the freaking voice of
Voice of
Yaddle.
Yaddle. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, David! Still
Matty B
haven't
with the
had me
crystal
on.
ball.
Still haven't had me on to redeem myself either, David. So
Well,
I expect
you're spoiling the show. That's why you're
well,
spoiling stuff.
I expect to see it soon, David. That's all I'm saying. The invite better be in the mail.
There you
You know,
go.
one of the things that I got to say about Andor, though, is that episode one started off with the bang, like that grittiness, that just, showing Cassian Andor as just a freaking badass dude, just going in there and just wasting people in the street. If they
Oh,
can keep that
It was sick.
grittiness, that was a vibe,
Episode one
dude.
was great.
If they could just keep that going, damn, this would be like way up there, dude. Like no joke. But instead, they just took a turn, and they fucked around and they found out. That's what I
you
think happened.
you wanted more brothel. That's what you wanted. You wanted more
No,
Star
it
Wars
wasn't even the
brothels.
brothel thing, dude. It was just like
Um,
the grittiness of that episode. Like we don't
is
even know what happened to his sister.
Is the sister thing gonna
wasted
come
two
back?
Imperial officers right off the bat. He wasted them right there in the streets
Wasted him,
with
dude.
no hesitation.
One of them even begged for his life, and he said,
Gritty.
"Boom."
And then we went off on this mission over there, which ended up meaning nothing until the last episode when obviously he remembered his friend and he had his little monologue there in the beginning of the episode and all this. I think they could have done it a little bit better. I really do. And then there's the bricks and screws debate, which I'm not going to get into, but it's big on the Star Wars forums right now of
Hmm.
the set pieces not looking like Star Wars. There's some
Really?
bricks and screws which we haven't seen before. It makes it just look like a set piece, if you know what I mean.
There you go, Maddie.
More feet in Andor. Yeah, that's what we
Yeah, well,
needed.
here's to David. You could feel my hot D. How about that?
Oh
Because
man.
you're not going to troll me in my chat. This is my show, bud.
I don't know what the set pieces look great in my opinion. I think we also got to some different places, right? We got to some new planets. They have to look different. They have to have their own style, their own unique architecture. I think they did all of that right. Ferrex looked great. Ferrex looked great. Ferrex felt like a real place. Felt like they have their real traditions. I was down with all that. So yeah, I'm not sure what that was. I haven't looked into that or heard about that recently, but that's pretty interesting, Matt.
Thanks.
Joe, any final theories about season two? Like, what is it that you really need to see, or where is it that you think they're going, other than Rogue One?
Well, this is the thing is that there has to be big time loss here in order for it to really propel Cassian. Cassian, I think, is still right now on the fence about things. You know, he wants to be there. He's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and maybe, take up this cause, but it doesn't really mean nothing to him right now. He just wants to kind of get revenge, I think. But it has to be more than that. And in order for him to make that full transition, you got to lose something, in order for it to really shape you into the character that we see in Rogue One. He's right there already, but he needs that little extra something to push him over the edge. And I think in this season two, it's going to be a lot of loss. There's going to be a lot of loss. Some main characters, I think, are really going to have to bite the dust, in other words, and really propel this rebellion and get it going. And we're going to see Cassian be I guess, the guy that's going to be to actually do the dirty work. And actually, we're going to see that side of him come out. We've already seen little flashes, but I just want to see full on gangster Cassian Andor. That's a badass right there. That's the stuff that I like. It's kind of like almost like a Sopranos in outer space. That's the kind of shit that I want to see
Yeah,
and I think that's what we're going to get a little taste of in season two.
it's gonna get real Game of Thrones in here. General
Yeah.
Kenobi is in the chat. He says, "I think Bix might play into that." Yeah, I could see that definitely. If you go back to our discussion on Wednesday, I kind of felt like Luthen, we might lose Luthen, and that might be what kind of propels Cassian into this leadership role. He's no longer taking orders. Now he's really one of the head guys leading this rebellion cause. I think that's something that we really might get into.
Yeah, another thing
Uh,
that I have a theory of too, Ted, is that there's going to be a spy that's going to be embedded within the rebel or the beginnings of this rebel alliance,
a
and that's going to
mole.
really mess up a lot of things for them. And again, it's got to hurt. It's got to hurt. So that's one thing that I look forward to. Who's going to be the mole?
David says season two, Krennic, K2SO, Death Star, bricks, screws, and maybe some patas, some feet.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but they gotta do something more with this series than just make it a prelude to Rogue One. And I know that's kind of what it is because we're getting the story of Andor, but they gotta add something else to it, or else who cares? Because we know how things end. This is why we had a problem with Kenobi. This is why and people hated on characters in Kenobi because they weren't a part of the original canon or plot. But they got to give you something to care about because we know how things end. We know that the ultimate stakes aren't actually there in these types of stories. So I hope that they include some characters that extend beyond what we know. Was the tragedy at the end of Rogue One, where all of them died, where we can get some story on characters who didn't die in that scenario, and that's what I was hoping Mon Mothma would be in
Yeah.
season one. But we'll see.
Hey, man, show me some Wedge Antilles, dude. I'd like to see that. That would be dope.
Just Wedge, yeah.
Prime Wedge, when he was in his prime, dude.
I'm down.
There you go. There you go. General Kenobi says, "Yeah, I think Luthen has to go. He's too awesome." And David says, "I want to see some
Bothans.
Bothans
Bothans.
finally."
Yeah, because you remember the saying,
Yeah,
many Bothan spies.
many
Yeah.
many Bothans died for this.
Bothan spies died for this information.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I think it's gonna have to be a prelude to Rogue One, right? The only other thing that we might be able to get is like more guerrilla warfare. More guerrilla warfare. The rebellion has to take bigger shots. They're gonna suffer more casualties, more losses. But I think when we get to the end of season two, they have to be so well organized and so well managed that they are a force that the Empire finally has to reckon with. And we have to build towards that. We can't just start season two with like, all right, we're ready to go now. We got a militia behind us, and we're kicking ass and taking names. It has to kind of build towards that, and we already know we're getting some flash forward jumps, some time jumps. I think in season two, So I would love to see that more, perhaps military warfare, strategic type
Do we
fighting
have
and
to
whatnot.
see? Do we have to see Bail Organa at some point? If we don't see Leia, doesn't Bail Organa have to be in season 2 at some point?
Yeah, I think so. I said it. I think at least we get a hologram of Leia because Leia has to be 100% involved by the end of season 2.
At at some point, one of them has to. If they don't want to do the Carrie Fisher thing too early, they could still bring on Bail, and because she was delivering a message for her father, he was still kind of the one more senior to her in the thing. So it would make sense that we could at least get Bail.
Yeah. No, let's get Bale, and I think they've set up a good foundation. Like I mentioned, the rebellion has to get to a point where they are a solid, formidable foe for the Empire. Right now, they're just outing themselves. And so, between point A, where we're at right now, and point B, where we need to get by Rogue One, that's a big leap. So, there has to be steps taken. I hope we get to see those things. There should be more Star Wars in Andor in season 2 because this is no longer a, what do they call it, a hive, or no longer a secret. Um,
It's not an underground organization anymore. It's
yeah,
more coming
it's
into the
not.
limelight.
It's not the
It's
foot. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
it's
you
not
could
a
say that the
cell. It's
foot because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, exactly.
it's no longer a cell. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
Is it's no longer a hidden cell. Now they are completely outed, and they need to get to this point in time when they are a formidable force against the Empire. Uh, General
yeah.
Kenobi says, "I'm hoping to see the beginning of the Rebel fleet. We got to see that. We have to. You can't jump the shark. We don't want to just get to the beginning of season 2 and like they got all these things now, they got armories, they got ships, they got soldiers, they got just everything. There has to be some steps taken. I think that's why you do this show to begin with, to kind of show us that transition and that evolution over time. um yeah, that's what I hope
I
at
think there's
least.
going to be some heist because in order for you to go ahead and build ships and all that, you're going to need funding. And as we've seen, the funds are kind of hard to sneak out. Even doesn't matter who you have that's going to be, let's say, laundering the money for you. You got to have something tangible in order to go ahead and build ships and get guns and artillery and all that stuff. So I think we're going to see some heist, and some of them might involve some casualties that might be hard to swallow. And I'm talking about innocent lives, getting caught in the crossfire. And I think another thing that's going to happen here is that then we might see more of that story, like we had hinted at with Cassian and his sister. Maybe the catalyst that really propels him is the death of his sister. That would be something that would really be um, hard to watch, but it would be something that would really instill in Cassian the Empire just doesn't give a damn. They're going to just mow down anybody who opposes them. So maybe he's reunited with his sister, and then immediately it ends in disaster. You know,
Yeah, that could be it. David says gonna have to bring all the actors back from Rogue One for that last 3 episode arc, right? He says we're definitely getting Bale. Teenage Leia would be rad. Pockets have fermented. Admiral Akbar, yeah, just chewing scenery. I'm
that'd be
down,
dope.
man.
Yeah.
And Legacy Nerds says we have to. They stole all that money. Yeah, like if they were holding back for season 1, they have to go all out for season 2, right? There's no more seasons after that, and you have to get to Rogue One. Like that's where the story begins. That's where the original trilogy begins. And so yeah, huge leap to get to that point, to find out what that rebellion looks like. And how do we get to that? How do we get to that part? So interesting.
By
I'm down.
subscribing to Disney Plus.
Exactly. Well said. Well said, Manny. All right. Awesome. Joe, glad you got to, talk to us about Andor. I know you've been super busy. All the guys have been super busy. with a number of things and the holidays and all that. So really appreciate you giving us your thoughts, man, and appreciate everybody else as well talking Andor with us. Keep staying tuned to the Geekcast. We're going to be following up with more Star Wars content, especially when Ahsoka drops. The next season of The Mandalorian. We're going to have all of our pals on to talk about it.
Don't forget
Everybody in the
Willow's coming
chat.
up too, man.
Yeah, the Dave Filoni stuff. The Dave Filoni stuff.
The
It's gonna
Are
good
be
we going to
stuff.
have
great.
time for Willow? I don't know if we're going to have time for Willow.
Oh, we're gonna have time for Willow. We had time for Ranks. We're gonna talk about Willow, dude.
Yeah,
All
we,
right.
we
All
suffered
right.
through we suffered through She-Hulk and Rangs. We'll
I
make it through
commend you,
Willow.
Maddie. Maddie
We'll
was a
make
trooper, man. You're a real team player for sticking through
Oh, man.
She-Hulk, man.
I tried.
Real quick, before we get to our next topic, I want to remind everyone that right now you can grab some Geekcast, Ghost Heads, and WrestleCast merch on sale. T-shirts for a very limited amount of time are 30% off. Hats 20% off. Office accessories like a mouse pad are 20% off, and phone cases 40% off. All you got to do, go to the link in the chat. I'm gonna mark it with a star there, and that'll take you to the Redbubble merch store. The sale is ending soon. I don't want to say it's today or tomorrow that it's going to end at the end of the day, but it's ending soon, so don't waste time. Pick up your gear. It's the Black Friday sale. Yes, it is. So we appreciate everybody who's already made their purchases. Hopefully, everything turns out exactly how you like them. It's been a blast designing these things with help and input from all the guys. And yeah, we're excited. Finally, a WrestleCast shirt. I'm most happy that we have a WrestleCast shirt out there on the store. I know the whole WrestleCast crew is stoked about it. They've already picked up shirts of their own. So yeah, General Kenobi says, "Oh, what? Got to get me some merch." And there's a very nice Geekcast Star Wars shirt. You might want to lean towards that one, Kenobi. It's pretty sick. Choose your own colors. Choose your own shirt styles. All that jazz. Be sure to kind of browse the categories to see the different items that are for sale. But yeah, check out the Geekcast merch store on Redbubble. Link is in the chat below. We're going to now talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Joe, I'm going to leave it up to you, man. You can hang out if you want to. I know you hadn't seen it yet, so I'm going to leave it up to you whether you hang out or if you bail.
Yeah, I'm gonna at this point go ahead and bail because I will watch it. I'll probably watch it right now while y'all are talking about it.
It's great,
And
Joe.
yeah,
I,
that's what I hear.
I'll save my takes for later. Go watch it, Joe.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna
go
go
watch it,
watch
man.
it. So have a good show, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
Appreciate you, brother. Take it easy.
Peace.
Later, dude.
And then there were two. If you've been watching the Geekcast in the past, you know how this goes. Before we talk about a new episode or a movie, we give you guys a summary, and it goes a little something like this. Drax, Drax and Mantis want to cheer up Peter Quill during the Earth holiday season Christmas, which Yondu had ruined for him as a teenager. So they come up with a great plan of kidnapping Kevin Bacon, of course. The two of them stuff Kevin in a box and present him to Quill. Kevin, removed from his trance, is freaked out, but he decides to stay for Quill's sake, and he rocks out to some Christmas tunes. Mantis has a heart to heart with Peter and reveals, spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen it, I give you 3 seconds to jump out. Three, two, one. Mantis reveals they are siblings. Rocket gets Bucky's arm from Nebula, and we find out in a flashback where Quill got his blasters from. Maddie B, the holiday special, Guardians of the Galaxy. What's your overall general thoughts about it, sir?
It was fantastic. And of course we love Guardians of the Galaxy for their irreverent humor. And I mean, just Dave Bautista and Palm going back and forth on this mission to capture Kevin Bacon. literally the first like 20 minutes of this was nothing but laughs for me and just wonder of how well written it was and how poignant it was and how the messages of Christmas were still being driven home without being over the top. And Peter's wish for Christmas because he's a kid from Earth but doesn't understand anything about Earth. Like everything about it worked. Everything about it worked from the animation from the beginning. Um, it sort of almost an Eight Crazy Nights style, the way that it was in was really really good. And I just thought that they kind of rushed a little bit 3/4 of the way through. I think they were like, okay, well, we have a 40-minute contract, so we got to keep this. I think they could have extended that out a little bit more. I would have watched this for an hour. I would have watched this for an hour and 10. I would have watched it for an hour and a half. I would have watched it if it was a 3 series special. I did feel like it was rushed a little bit from the time that they captured Kevin to the point that they delivered him to Peter. But um, I loved it. I thought it was incredible. A really, really good Christmas holiday special.
It's gonna be a Christmas tradition for like ton of Marvel fans going forward. Now we have to watch the Guardians Christmas special, the holiday special. Sorry. Yeah, it was definitely fast paced, but like James Gunn, I would put very few people above him when it comes to writing because he just has a great way of telling a story. Of He has a great pacing style with everything. His comedic timing is brilliant. There's always a certain level of heart you're going to get and emotion that you're going to be invested in with all of his projects. You're getting a total package with James Gunn, and it doesn't matter if it's a 2 hour movie or a 35-40 minute holiday special. Like you're gonna get all of those things checked off, and he's a master at it. He's absolutely fantastic with it. It's so entertaining. It's so funny. I'm glad that we spend most of the time with Batista and Mantis, Drax and Mantis. Dave Batista, I'm such a fan of his. He's so good in everything that he does. He takes it so seriously, and I think it's great. I found out that actually James Gunn wrote this entire thing in 3 days. 3 days time. It was sort of an off joke that came up, I think, while they were filming the second Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he might have just thrown it out there, or maybe it was Kevin Feige who said, "Hey, we should do a holiday special," and it was just a throwaway joke. And then 3 days later, he had written the entire thing. So it just shows you how talented this guy is. He's a master at what he does. I am so glad he's heading up DC Films now.
But and I agree. I was watching it very excited for the future of DC, and we're not going to get into a DC talk. This is
Right?
Marvel time.
Not yet.
Um,
DC
I
later.
I I was thoroughly happy with what James Gunn put together here, and knowing that backstory behind it that you just told, um, lets me understand. He has a deep understanding of these characters and their humor and where they're coming from and why something would be funny. You could write a joke in for any character. It doesn't matter what character it is. You can do a chicken cross the road with them, but to understand where the character is coming from and write a joke specific to them requires a bit of care and knowledge, and that was executed from the beginning to the end of this. It was fun and beautiful. I encourage everyone to go out there and watch it. Let the kids watch it, even if they haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy. Doesn't matter. They're gonna want to watch the movies after they see this for sure, but you don't have to know that necessarily going in. Go watch this film and watch it with your family over the holidays. For me, it's an absolute 9.2 out of 10.
Hey,
They knocked it out of the park to me.
I like it. I like it. I wasn't gonna do ratings, but maybe that's something that we can get into. Tell us what really worked for you. I'm just as soon as we found out in the trailer that this entire movie was gonna be about kidnapping Kevin Bacon, I'm like, I'm all in. That's such a hilarious premise that there's no way you can kind of mess this up. And it was so good. And Kevin Bacon, we rarely kind of see him in his maybe normal or usual self. I mean, he's sort of a different variation of his character, and in a number of movies, but this is just him kind of, just being calm, cool, collected Kevin Bacon. So that was really interesting actually, and we got to see him play some jams. He actually got up there, played some tunes, did some singing.
The song was
Really,
great.
really dug it. The entire soundtrack of this is great. As soon as they played I always reference it back to SNL. I think it's called Christmas Time Is Here, but there's like a very specific rendition of Christmas Time Is Here that was played by Horatio Sands and Jimmy Fallon and Chris Kattan, and then yeah, it's just the one that I always kind of fall back to. As soon as I heard that song played in the background, I'm like, oh, I'm in love with the soundtrack already.
Yeah.
And I
Even
think
the
you can
first song.
actually pick it up now, or you can actually download the playlist on a
Good.
number of streaming services, which is
Because
great.
even the first song they played, which was a sort of a misunderstood Christmas song, that obviously Chris Pratt is Star Lord. Sorry,
Yeah,
he's having to sort of be like, no, well, no, it didn't go like that. At first, it started really great, but then it started really going off the rails towards the end. But even that was a really good song. The Kevin Bacon song was really good. The moment that he has with Mantis in the no, it wasn't Mantis. Who was driving him back? I can't remember which character was. Who's driving Kevin?
driving. Um,
The Mohawk guy. What's his name?
yeah, I'm not gonna remember his name, but I know what you're talking about.
But we should know his name, Ted. But
He's a Ravager, right? That's what you're talking about.
yeah. But so he's explaining to Kevin Bacon about how Star Lord saved the galaxy by dancing because uh, Kevin Bacon saved the world by dancing in Footloose. I mean, and just him saying that it would mean a lot um, for Star Lord, for Peter, if we could do this for you, and Kevin Bacon even starting to realize that and not having to be sort of super powered into thinking that this was cool. He just went out there and did it when they were lighting up the alleyway with the lights and the snow was coming down and all of that. I thought they did an incredible job of turning this irreverent story into a beautiful Christmas tale. Again, my girlfriend, she does not. She's never seen either one of the movies. We just went to Anaheim, Avengers Campus. She didn't even know Hollywood Tower of Terror had been transformed into that ride. Has no knowledge of the Guardians of the Galaxy whatsoever, and laughed from the beginning to the end of this movie
There you go. It's
or
it's
this
so it's so
sequence.
damn entertaining.
It
It's
is.
so fantastic. You don't have to be completely involved with these characters or be a follower of the MCU, to completely understand what's happening here because that's how well it's written. Davis is Kraglin. Legacy Nurse is Sean Gunn. Is the Kraglin? Yeah, hilarious. Let's see here. Jenna Kenobi says the music is always on point on these. Yeah, James is just a music aficionado. He's so good. I want to see. So Spotify is doing this thing where like it picks your favorite bands and it turns them into this like flyer
Festival list.
for a festival list. Yeah, I would love to see what James Gunn list looks like. It's got to be all over the place, I'm sure.
Yeah, that actually would be interesting. We should do a call on all the major directors or showrunners of all of our favorite shows and say, if you want to keep your job, we need to see where your Spotify festival list is, and this will let us know if we can trust you moving forward or not.
Yeah, no, we down with that. Kevin's in the chat. Kevin Quinn, what's going on, Kevin? Good to see you, brother. Let's see here. Anything that didn't work for you so much? We already talked about it. It is a little short, but it's because it's a special presentation. You and I both could have used a longer version of this, but regardless, I feel like the pacing is still really good. He got to the point where we wanted to get. So I'm really happy about that. Uh, Nebula's dance moves, hysterical. I really dug that, even though that was short. Um, I talked about Rocket getting Bucky's arm as a present from Nebula,
Yeah.
and it's it's so hilarious. And now I have way more questions about the whole situation. Like, wait a minute. Okay, so what does Bucky have right now?
Hmm.
And Nebula is sort of like trying to not show any sort of emotion when she's giving Rocket the President understanding the gravity of what she's giving him. Like all of
Yeah.
that is so good. It's
She
so
just
good.
knew she just knew it meant something to him, and the face she made when she said it, "Merry Christmas." Like, she just knew it would mean so much, and, like, she doesn't show
Yeah,
emotion like that ever.
yeah.
And those dance moves.
I know you can pull them off. I know you
And
got
but
them.
but also, when they were even doing the guitar thing, like, they were doing the guitar thing, and, like, I
How
think
does
that
he
was
do that?
yeah, and then, like, one of the, like, town members or whatever, wasn't a main character, was just like like, it's not that big of a deal.
It's
I
so
thought it
good,
was great.
man.
The only thing I thought it was missing is more of it.
Yeah, more of it. We find out that the Guardians have purchased Nowhere from the Collector. That was interesting. I wonder how that's going to play into the MCU going forward because it kind of feels like a throwaway line that we're going to revisit in the future. Like it was such a sort of out of nowhere statement that, like, oh yeah, that's definitely coming back.
And
And
also a bit of a technology jump. So now we know that you can kidnap somebody from Earth and they can still get cell phone signal.
right,
Um, So a bit of a technology jump there, I would say. I don't know if they'll use that later, but there wasn't too much in it to be like, this is something really to like look forward to next. It was just like, I really understand these freaking characters. I understand how freaking important this holiday is. So I'm going to put them inside of it, and we're going to see what happens. And it's the same magic that happened to me with those claymation Rudolph films and the Santa Claus movie and some of those things. It's just a pure snow globe. They put these characters inside of a snow globe and it just looks great. And I like every bit of it.
David says would have liked an Adam Warlock cameo. There was someone in this movie that was painted gold from like
Yeah.
head to toe, and I know Adam Warlock isn't like exactly all gold like the people from Guardians 2. Adam Warlock is not like that, but I felt like it could have been like a just a small tease or like an Easter egg, referring back to those people and trying to remind us like Adam Warlock is on the way. That's what I kind of felt like. Legacy Nerd says apparently the band is a Texas band that James Gunn likes to feature in his movies. I did hear the name Old 97s or something like that. I think is what they're called. I could be wrong about that, but I did hear the name somewhere. And let's see. I wonder if Tony put out those satellites after he got stranded in space. Hey, he totally could have, right? Because that was early on in Endgame when that happened. So yeah, that could have been a thing where those satellites went out there, or even just any of the other alien species that were sort of helpful with the defeat of Thanos. Could have been doing that. Cosmo worked for me. The voice casting was perfect. The actress from Borat 2, who's so good, she was so good in the second Borat movie. Um, no, I really dug that. I didn't actually know that she was voicing Cosmo, but that was really cool. There was a cutscene also that was not very impactful, but it was just gave a good chuckle. They're dressing up jacked up Groot as a Christmas tree, and he puts his arms down, and like all the decorations fall and Rocket just says, "Oh, Groot, you messed it up," or something like that.
Yeah. And
But
then
yeah,
also, well, we did also figure out too. There was another big reveal here of how Star Lord got his blasters.
that's right.
So I guess that's canon now that he got
Absolutely.
those um, as a Christmas gift because the original story that started the whole thing was misinterpreted, and it turned out that the presence of Christmas was always alive with Peter Quinn, Star Lord, and that's actually his first Christmas gift after leaving Earth was his blasters. So that was an interesting sentiment. I didn't think they would throw in, but that's canon now. I guess that's how he got them.
Canon. And also those animated, cut those animated scenes and all that, very reminiscent, inspired from the Star Wars holiday special. They're following suit in that regard. James Gunn talked
The
about that,
infamous.
the infamous one. He says, "We're gonna do a holiday special like Star Wars, but better. No offense.
My gosh. But honestly, it's so beautifully bad. I mean, but it's interesting. I got a little bit of Eight Crazy Nights from that more so than the Star Wars Holiday Special.
A little bit of an Easter egg. It looks like Kingo has some sort of a show going on.
That's is interesting for
Does
sure.
that say Kingo's Christmas?
Something along those lines.
There you go. So Kingo's a bit of an artist now. That's pretty awesome. Let's see here. Thick Groot was kind of jarring. Wonder if that's the way he is going to look in Volume 3. It was really weird. I mean, it was the first time that Groot actually looked like a fake suit, like a fake man in a suit, because it was just so oversized and large. But we'll see how that plays out. David says animation reminded me of the Lord of the Rings animation. Ooh, interesting. And then Legacy Nerd says, I wonder how didn't he get nabbed by Celestial? No, he actually talking about Kingo, right? No, he actually like left the movie before like the final big fight scene. At
Mm.
least that's what I remember from the Eternals, and that was like one of my criticisms. It's like, shouldn't we all be on board with this last battle boss? But I guess not.
And on to and to go to just what David was saying, yeah, that 2D animation I think is what he was talking about. But it just reminded me of just in general how really good the CG was in this special that was only 40 minutes, and we've had a few disappointing episodes of a show that I won't say, She-Hulk, that didn't have the best CG of all time from Marvel, and but this the CG in this was really good. I thought, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I think that these specials, Werewolf by Night was the other one. CG is on point. Everything was fantastic. Even in Werewolf by Night, which is the other special presentation they did. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but also you've had time. Man Thing was in it. That was a practical suit that was worn by somebody, and this entire time I thought it was kind of a computer generated or animation special effect. So yeah, no, the animation for both the special effects for both these projects, top of the line, fantastic. But I kind of expect nothing less. There's probably a separate budget when it comes to like a special presentation that you can allocate more to just a single project, as opposed to a series where if you got 8 or 9 episodes, you really got to space out that budget.
Yeah.
And
And if it affects the
She-Hulk,
franchise. So, like, She Hulk doesn't have a franchise movie wise yet. We haven't seen her in the movie film yet. So, I'm sure that if it's like, okay, well, the other representation of these characters is in cinema movie form, we
yeah,
can't. We can't regress it, but so much without degrading the quality of any other movie or showing them moving forward. So they probably have to keep a certain standard of presentation for them.
what really helps this special presentation is that there's not too many set pieces that are needed for it, right? Like Kevin Bacon's home is all shot on it might be a sound stage, but I wouldn't put it past them to just do it on a lot. Probably in Burbank, wherever they are. Um it's probably a giant blue screen stage whenever they're in sort of the nowhere area in the middle of the city or whatnot. And then other than that, all you have is really the ship. So you're kind of reusing all of these same sets. You're not having to build too many different ones. And I think James Gunn understands the business. You can get more of what you need by cutting corners with items that don't affect the project too much. If you're only cutting it down to 3 or 4 sets, you understand that's a money saver, right? And so you can put more money towards special effects and effects teams and stunt teams and all that stuff. So James Gunn is not only a great writer, director, but he's also a great businessman. He understands those aspects of it where some people might not go into that with that understanding, and you hear time and time again. We talked about Rob Zombie in Halloween 2. Um, the studio took money from production budget after the story was already finished. And so you have to scramble and rewrite things sometimes on the spot because of all of these obstacles that you weren't prepared for. Whereas James Gunn, probably ahead of the game, understanding, look, we can get this done with just a number of sets, save money in these spots, and that way everything will be fine. It'll be smooth sailing. He can foresee those different obstacles and those steps along the way. Let's see here. Let's see here. Man Thing was worn by Carrie Jones, who was also Black Kirstanton, and the Book of Boba Fett, who was just here in San Antonio signing. Absolutely. I forgot Carrie Jones was just here. David Lozano shot in Atlanta, I believe. You know what? You're right. They always shoot in Atlanta. I should have remembered that.
Well, that's
Uh,
Hollywood now. Hollywood is Atlanta now. It really is.
it really
Everybody,
is.
yeah.
Ton of incentives, monetary incentives. Also, when you focus on the characters, you can cut back on sets. No, precisely, absolutely. When the characters set up the scene, yeah, for sure, 100%. James Gunn is known for coming under budget. Wouldn't surprise me if this holiday special was rolled into the Volume 3 budget, which explains why the CGI was great. Dude, you know what? That could have been a thing. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. James is going to get what he wants and get sort of what he needs because he either comes under budget or he finds ways to cut costs. You get more things from studios and companies when you keep the money budgets and the expenses down. There's always that famous storyline about the band Tool. Weird that I'm bringing up Tool on a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, but whatever. They would go to the record label, and the record label's like, "All right, you got to do this, this, and this." And Tool went to the studio heads or the recording heads, and they're like, "Well, what if we take less money? Then can we do this ourselves?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, for sure." And then they said, "Well, what if we take less money and we can direct our own music videos?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure." And so they got everything they wanted, more control over everything that they were doing, designing of their CD cases, writing their music videos, all that good stuff, because they were taking less money from the record labels. It just goes to show you can get more of what you want when the money is involved. Money talks, and this is the same case. Are you hoping for more of these special presentations? What else would you want to see? What like other special presentation project, whether it's not tied to a current MCU franchise or whether it is tied to a current MCU franchise, what would you want to see, Matt?
Um, I want to see anything else that's produced like this. I got to be honest with you, and I can see a lot of different situations with this. We could have gotten this way earlier with like a sort of a uh, like a Grinch esque, but still very in the Christmas spirit. Tony Stark with Pepper trying to get their Christmas together. We could get this with She Hulk and the Hulk and the son of Hulk. We could get something like that in a Christmas scenario. I want them to, if they do it to the level that this was done, I don't care if they do an Easter special every year, a Columbus Day special, an Arbor Day special, President's Day. I don't care. If it's done to this level, I'm totally cool with it. And I don't want this to start to becoming something where we're really previewing a lot of things coming forward.
Ah,
I don't want it to be anything like that. I would prefer it to just be a singular story
okay, okay.
where it is, and then that's it. That's the problem Thor's in right now, where they kind of having these irreverent situations and stuff, and that's why Chris Hemsworth. I think he's saying we want to take a more serious tone with these sort of Christmas specials when it comes to Marvel. I would like for you to do those little isolated situations that characters are in. I like that a lot. So if there's that creative energy in the writing room, direct it all towards these holiday specials, and I'll watch all of them.
I'm down, and I'll give you maybe two examples. One of which is already fully expected. But if they can figure out to do like a 1 hour or less special presentation where Chris Evans, Captain America, is going back, returning all the Infinity Stones back to their rightful timelines and their rightful universes, that I would be totally down for. It'll be the biggest thing ever. However, they want to figure that out. But yeah, a special presentation where it's an hour or less, right?
Mm,
And some of these stones will be really easy to put back. Some of them will be a lot tougher, like the soul gem, which the soul stone, which I'm not sure they have a easy way of figuring it out yet. But
like imagine if like once we start getting into the X-Men stuff, if we get a Christmas special of Christmas at the Xavier School for highly gifted individual. You know what I'm saying? Where you have all these dysfunctional mutants. You have Charles Xavier trying to like head this thing up and like try to be the patriarch of everything that's going on and maintain tradition. And you have all this stuff, but then everybody comes together. I think with everything that Marvel has rolling out, there's so many really cool um, character groups that we can feature, and maybe ancillary characters that we can feature into some of these holiday specials.
this might be let's see. David Lozano says I am hoping for more special presentations. You can do one-offs from all of the obscure characters in the massive catalog they have now. For sure, for sure. Red Skull and Cap convo would be interesting. Just saying. Absolutely. I think that would be fantastic. Jonah Kenobi says, She-Hulk Easter special. Either She-Hulk or even Deadpool. Deadpool Easter special where he's wearing like the ears and all that. That'd be fantastic throughout the whole thing. What would be cool is if they would do one-offs like David said. This actually came up on Twitter, and I know if Jericho was on, he would be losing his mind because I meant to send this to him, but I forgot to do it. So these are actual storyboards from the now failed Gambit project that was going to be headed up with Channing Tatum, who I was going to give him a fair shot. I know not a lot of people were going to do that, but this is go for it, man. This is the actual storyboards from the Gambit project. The last time we thought this was happening was what 2017, I think. This is really cool. So he's holding a bottle of bourbon. Eyes start glowing. He's looks like he's in the bed of his truck, or maybe standing in front of the truck right now. And then this last storyboard, he chunks the bottle and it explodes, and you just get sort of the full kind of look and feel they're going for right now. Somebody who's a little bit down on their luck, who understands his powers already, maybe feels that they're sort of a curse, if you will. But yeah, this is totally Channing right there. They really nailed what his look was going to be like. And like I mentioned, I know it's weird to say, but I was going to give Channing Tatum a fair shot. I wasn't going to dog on it. I wasn't going to criticize it until I absolutely saw the project for what it was going to be. And Fox at the time, they were hit or miss, right? The Deadpool movies were successful, but I don't really give them all that credit. That was mostly Ryan Reynolds and the team that he put together that was so passionate about the Deadpool character. Half the X-Men movies, in my opinion, were good. The other half I completely forgot. Um yeah, it could have gone either way with Fox overseeing all that stuff. We saw how the Fantastic Four turned out, so really like it could have gone either way with the Fox, 20th Century Fox Studios, on how that Gambit project would have happened. I still want a Gambit. I don't know who they're gonna pick. I hope they do it. He was such a big character with the X Men. The X Men '97 animated show is gonna have him included. I think.
Well, he
And
has to be
so
there because the new X Men '97 is not going to leave out Gambit. There's no way.
well, I haven't finished the original series, so I don't know if he was there by the end. Nobody spoiled it for me if, if they know that
Well,
answer.
is X Men the new X Men '97? Is it continuing?
It's supposed to. Supposed to be a
I thought they were
continuation.
taking the same characters because Xavier is different, right? Or
It's
I
supposed to
don't know.
be a continuation. Yeah,
What you have to do a Gambit just standalone movie would be really cool, and I'm glad that they didn't jump the gun on this because they could have done this around the time where Colin Farrell's Daredevil came out. And I'm
yeah.
not hating on that movie, but there's a particular tone that I think both of them could have taken, and it would have been in sort of that same vein, and maybe it would have got lost there with the new technology, the new stories. A Gambit movie, Ted. Why'd you even have to bring that up? I'm gonna be thinking about
I'm
that all night
sorry. I'm sorry.
now.
David says all I want for Christmas is for the MCU to get the X-Men right. Oof. It depends on what your definition is, right? I think that everybody's going to have an exact idea of what the X-Men should be, but Kevin Feige is going to say this is the way it has to be done. The way I see it is they're going to take some liberties when they can, just like they did with Namor. Namor has the exact, almost verbatim, same backstory as Aquaman. So the reason why they decided, look, we cannot do Namor from the comics is because it's too similar. So we got to do our own thing, and they killed it. So this MCU's version of the X-Men, what are they going to look like? Maybe they're not even from this universe. Maybe they are from an alternate universe. That remains to be seen. Legacy Nerd says only one person wasn't there at the end of the series, and it wasn't Gambit. Nice tease, nice tease. I wish we would also get a new season of the cartoon Wolverine and the X-Men. It was so good and ended on a cliffhanger. Interesting. I remember that one. That was a good one.
You know what else ended on a cliffhanger? Boy Meets World. You guys seen that? My
Well,
gosh.
they extended it with
Well, I
Girl
thought
Meets
we were
World.
going to get a next season when Corey and Topanga and all them went to New York.
We got Girl Meets World. They continued it.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. It's not the same.
It counts. They pretty much like
It's canon.
it's canon. Why wouldn't it be canon? They nailed it. They even had this I think I watched half the first season with my son.
Yeah.
They even had this great Feeney episode where like did like a tribute to him, and it was so good,
Well,
so good.
Feeney's the man. But
Feeney is the man.
I'm sorry. I'm caught up
We
in
forget.
nostalgia. We just got off. And by the way, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I had a very nostalgic Thanksgiving, and I watched the entire run of Boy Meets World in like 6 days. And so
Wow.
I'm very caught up on that currently because I really dive into nostalgia this time of year, and I hope you guys too. And I hope that makes you want to give toys. Ted, is this a good time before we get into Titans to maybe talk about it again? Should we talk about tomorrow and our stream?
Yeah, let's talk about it real quick again. So if you're just joining us, if you didn't hear before we got into this discussion, what we're going to be doing is hosting a live stream tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Central, where we're going to go into the details of our nationwide Ghostbusters Toy Drive. This is going to involve nearly 40 Ghostbusters chapters across the country, much like our own here in San Antonio, and we're all going to be doing kind of something similar in a lot of ways, holding toy drives or charity events across the country. We're going to give you the details. I don't know how you can support the Ghostbusters chapters in your community, and this all kicks off with an episode of the Ghost Heads radio show tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us. We are not only celebrating um, this momentous occasion, but we are kicking off the entire campaign, a nationwide campaign. Hundreds of Ghostbusters, like myself and Maddie, all joining forces towards a common goal. Our goal is to help as many families as possible this holiday season, and you can be a part of that if you're watching at home, just by hearing which chapters are holding events or holding donation drives in your area, or if you want to just donate some monetary funds, there will be some chapters that are doing that as well. So even if there's not a chapter in your area, we can find a way for you to support them. It's going all towards great causes. Every chapter is supporting an organization or a cause in their area. Ours are the Big Brothers Big Sisters in San Antonio, as well as the CASA Group, the Child Advocacy of San Antonio organization. Both are wonderful organizations, and we just can't wait. We're hoping for a huge success, and that is only going to happen with your support at home. So listen tomorrow for details, and should be great.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it, and it's something that we've really tried hard on, and it was just sort of an idea we had. We were just honestly, when me and Ted started Ghost Heads, we were just coming up with ideas and stuff like, "Hey, what can we talk about today?" And it just kind of came out of nowhere. Hey, let's do a toy drive, and it went from that to where it is now, and 40 chapters. And my goal, Ted doesn't like to say numbers. I like to say numbers a lot because it gives you something to go for, at least for people like me. 100,000 toys. I think is what we can get out of 40 chapters, 3 weeks. It's got to get close to that number. I'm very confident that we can do so. And what a better way to apply your time to make it mean something, man. We had all these groups. I got patches of some of them. We met really great people, met a lot of great friends, and those are really good things to do. But when you can also do that and do something good, it's an awesome thing. Also, to David, he said that you guys know there's a Curtain Boy Meets World podcast. I do. It's called Pod Meets World. It's got Danielle Fishel. It's got Ryder Strong and Will Friedle, and they have guests on every week from people who start on the show. And I would recommend give it a listen. They don't have their equalizing down very good when I'm listening, so one person will be really loud in one ear, and then maybe a person will be kind of quiet in your left. But it's a good show if you like Boy Meets World. But yeah, go donate. Go donate toys. Okay, just Google your phone, find your local Ghostbuster chapter, and say, "Hey, I want to give you some toys." And
General
it's easy.
General Kenobi says, "Yeah, I think when you call something a continuation of the one we love, it carries a heavy burden on the show. I just hope X Men is done right. I feel like there's going to be a happy medium, right? There's the X Men that we all know and love, and then there's the X Men that makes sense for the MCU, and they're going to find some balance in between those two items. I think we all need to have an open mind when it comes to the MCU because the MCU is not the comics. It is not the comics. It's inspired by the comics. It takes a lot of freedoms from the comics, and I think we're all better off if we understand like they're going to do what makes sense for this universe. And there's a unlimited number of universes. As soon as the MCU is done, in 10 years, let's reboot the whole damn thing and we're going to have another universe with the Avengers and, Iron Man and original Hulk and Tony Stark and all that stuff. Yeah, definitely. Legacy Nerd says, I'm also stoked for the Mighty Ducks Game Changers season finale. I keep hearing that's good. I need to watch it.
You know what, Legacy? I'll do a show with you on that. If you wanna do a show
What
where
would
we
you
just
call it? What would you call it?
Flying
Quack
V,
quack. Oh,
Flying
damn
Flying
it.
V or Air Bombay. There's a lot of different ways we could go with it. Legacy, if you want to do a Mighty Duck show, man, I'll pop on there with you for sure. Let me know.
You better jump on that Flying V name like now before David or General Kenobi beat you to it.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then
trying to
General
think of
Kenobi,
Hans. The name of Hans's hockey shop, Hans's skate store. That would be a good one too. But yeah,
no,
go
no,
ahead.
no. The was it the not the Bash Brothers? Is it
It's the Bash Brothers. Yeah,
is it the Bash Brothers?
yeah.
It should be the Bash Brothers podcast.
The Bash Brothers, the Flying V, the Air Bombays, whatever the name of Han's skate shop is in the original movies would be a sick one too. Cake Eaters for Banksy. I mean,
There
I'm
you go.
telling you, we could go on. Cake Eaters would actually be a really good Mighty Ducks podcast name.
Damn,
Yeah, hit,
damn.
yeah, hit me in there, Legacy Cake Eaters.
General Kenobi says that's an awesome project. Appreciate you, man. Hope to see you out. We're actually going to be doing appearances, right? So we're not only taking donations, donation location, dates, and all that. Tomorrow is when we release the information. But there will also be some days every week that you can meet the Ghostbusters of San Antonio check out the Ecto One that we'll have out front. Come take photos. Come say hi. Come hold a proton pack. All that good stuff. It's for a great cause, and we did such an amazing. We had such an amazing turnout last year that we had to do it again this year, but we had to give it more time, more planning, and we had to get more chapters on board to do something similar. That way, we can just show people what happens when you take so many passionate fans, so many passionate geeks, and put them all towards a common goal. And that's why we're here. So yeah, super excited about that. Legacy Nerd says Quack Attack.
Great one, yeah.
David Lozano says the Knuckle Pucks.
The Knuckle Pucks. That's a really good one.
Damn
Uh,
it. We're gonna just take
uh,
all the names.
yeah,
All
but
the names.
honestly, yeah, we could hop on that because the Mighty Ducks to me was incredible. I just talking to the fans here. I'm sorry, they're here, they're listening. I I really like Mighty Ducks 2. It was really good. The jersey change for the Junior Olympics. I mean, obviously a great moment. I like 3 a lot, and people really hate on the Mighty Ducks 3. I really liked them going into this new preppy school and kind of, going rough and about it. I really like that one a lot. So if you guys want to do some Mighty Ducks talk, I would be totally down. Quack Attack, Knuckle Pucks, and Cake Eaters is top 3 names of the show. Do a poll. If you're in the chat here listening, let us know between those 3 what you think would be the best. And we'll do it, man. That'd be awesome.
Cake eater.
Cake Eaters.
Why is that such a bad thing? Cake eater.
Well, because he was preppy. It was a way of saying preppy.
Who
Because he
doesn't
was.
love cake though? Are you
I know
turning
you're
down
right.
cake? I'm not
Yeah,
turning
yeah,
down
yeah.
cake.
But it was a great insult, cake eater. But
The
that's,
'90s were weird. Yeah, we had all
the
kind of.
'90s were the best.
'80s were the best. Get it right. Get it right, Maddie.
No
'80s.
way, no way. '80s
'80s.
inspired. '80s was so good it inspired the best
Back to the
generation.
Future. Ghostbusters.
No way,
Do
no
I need
way.
to go on? Do I need to go on? Come on.
No, no. A lot of my favorite stuff was in the '80s. I agree with you, but in the '90s, the '80s was so good it set up the '90s.
I feel you. I feel you. We got one final topic. I'm gonna try and go through this pretty fast because it's getting weird. I said I didn't want it to get weird, and it's getting
Yeah,
weird. I
yeah.
told you that this was the one. You said I love everything, and I told you, wait a minute, wait a minute. We haven't talked Titans together yet, so now we're gonna talk Titans. Ah, it's getting so weird. Titans episode 4, titled Super Supermart. The summary goes like this: we get flashbacks of Mother Mayhem, her origins with the organization. She would eventually give birth to Sebastian Blood, although the prophecy called for a girl, so we kind of saw the infant taken away from her. The team heads to the asylum where the organization previously had a presence before and are attacked by possessed employees of the Supermart that they refer to as zombies. After fleeing the zombies, they are approached by zombie Deathstroke because why not? Why not? Let's go ahead and throw in a zombie Deathstroke, huh? Why not? Zombie Deathstroke stabs Connor in the stomach, but is eventually tricked and killed again by Jinx, and the team heads back to Star Labs where Superboy vomits a dark magic snake. Let's do this. I was gonna just do one at a time, but I'm just gonna get through both of these episode summaries because
Well, they're gonna run together. Go for it, Ted.
they really do. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Episode 5 of season 4, which is titled Inside Man. The dark magic snake is running wild through Star Labs. Mother Mayhem is able to turn Connor against the team, forcing Raven and Corey to flee with Sebastian Blood. Back at the labs, Connor needs to be helped, so the plan. Hang on to your seats, folks. The plan is for Gar to become a virus and enter Connor's body with the ground up teeth of a Baba Yaga to poison the snake and save Connor's life. Of course it is. Mother Mayhem murders her cult friend to find Sebastian, I think, and then when she confronts Corey and Raven, Sebastian agrees to go willingly without anyone else getting hurt. The episode ends with the cult praising the prodigal son who has returned, Sebastian Blood. Now you understand what I mean when I say this show gets weird. And I was hoping it wouldn't go this way, but I'm now starting to get all those concerns, and it's odd. But I want to hear from you, so let me know what you think.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Um, I, man, this show is like, and I've actually had friends like this. First, I'm going to go into a story here. Okay, for a short amount of time, I lived in a place called Great Falls, Montana, and it was about 4 months or so. And I was interacting a lot with this couple, and one of them was a big superhero fan, and the other one was a big like vampire. They were both nerds. They were both geeks. They were easy to get along with, good people, but they had two different streams at which they went down. This show is like hanging out with them. It's like Charmed
Oof.
and like Smallville, and then it's like there's this extra badass moments once twice during each episode where maybe the superhero guy got his say, but for the most part this is turning straight into Charmed. And I was very very excited about the first two episodes because there was a little bit of that. We have magic involved. It's part of the characters that we have in the Young Justice League. We know that, we expect that, that's okay. The first two episodes gave us the small little doses of that, really well executed. Some of the horror elements that they're trying to bring in, not horror, I meant horror, that they're trying to bring in. And the last three episodes have been Charmed.
It's so weird. It's so
What do you
weird.
mean? What do you mean it's weird?
It's so weird. And look, episode 4, the major criticism I had with this is, the team is the writers, the showrunners, they're trying to tie this organization together with Raven's backstory, and for whatever reason, like, I'm just having such a hard time putting it together. And I've watched all these seasons. Maybe it's been too long since we kind of had these seasons, but even my son, who follows these shows more than I do, he even had a hard time. He's just like, "Wait, we're trying to tie all this together. It feels like it should be easier." But then episode 4, like, they gave us zombies, and it's like, why
Yeah.
even call them
So
zombies?
we're in the super
Why?
super mart. Okay.
Why?
The super
Why?
super mart. First of all,
Why?
corny. Super
Why?
supermart. We pull up to this place, and then all of a sudden, they're being swarmed by what we would obviously consider how they're moving as zombies, but they actually call them zombies. They start to act like zombies. Then we get Deathstroke out of nowhere. I mean, and he was kind of badass in that scene. I don't mind you dropping him in if you do that, but don't let him just get stabbed in the eye at the end of the episode, and then let Superman get he's impenetrable. I know we're working with magic here, and I know that magic can do a lot of things. So, Connor gets stabbed, and so I mean the episode just did a lot of really weird things, and it did a lot of weird superhero things, all wrapped in Charmed. And then go ahead, Ted. Go
No,
ahead.
my criticism with 4, why are we calling these zombies? Like, they don't look like zombies. If you don't have in I'm assuming, I could be completely wrong. If you don't have zombie makeup in the budget, let's not call them zombies. If you don't have computer generated special effects work for what are supposed to be like minions, let's not call them that. I mean, you can say something else, like magic is taking over. We just talked about Peacemaker, right? In
Mm-hmm.
Peacemaker, you had aliens who were taking possessing bodies of real
Yeah,
people,
these are
right, in the
people possessed
community.
by Mother Mayhem. Mother Mayhem has possessed these people.
So then let's not call them zombies.
Yeah,
But it's like almost specifically said, like, "Oh no, the zombies are coming," and it's like, ah. I mean, it should not be this big of a deal, right? But it's just like those small details where it's like you don't have to try and sell us on something if it's not going to
Yeah,
work.
but
Maybe they tried to sell us on the zombie aspect just so that Deathstroke could be there. But is this the body of Deathstroke, or is this just like a magic hallucination? Like we need a pick here. You know what I
But and
mean?
especially if you're gonna drop a character like Deathstroke, there's a lot of characters you could have dropped in a zombie scenario. Deathstroke's still pretty near and dear with us right now because of everything we're dealing with the Snyderverse and everything else. I mean, you're just gonna drop in Deathstroke, okay, and then just say he's a zombie. And I love that scene. Don't get me wrong. I was on an airplane watching it, freaking out. It was they almost grounded the plane. I was freaking out when they brought him on, and I'm telling you, dude, the way they handled that was just very silly. I feel like in the writers' room, they pulled somebody and said, "Hey, oh, you wrote for True Blood, perfect. Okay, you wrote on Smallville, perfect.
And you wrote
Uh,
for Z. What was
yeah,
that zombie show?
oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And so you used to be a executive at Sci-Fi Channel,
Sharknado.
yeah,
You
and then
you wrote Sharknado too.
Walking Dead. So oh yeah, so they let you go from the
Oh,
last
Z
season.
Nation.
It seems very weird how they're putting this together because they could make this show just as easy as we could want it to be, and it would be badass. All we want to do is see these guys team up together and fight a big bad. I don't want to see Beast Boy turning into the coronavirus. Is that even so? He's allowed to turn into now he can just turn into anything that's alive. So any cellular breakdown you want to make it. And then the way they skipped over that was just like he's like, "Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?" And before you know it, they're looking at a
Nothing.
screen where he's the
Nothing.
coronavirus, and then he's like taking over the snake. I'm like, "What are you even doing?" And then the snake comes out again, and then Tim Drake, my gosh, finally steps out of his shell and just hits a snake on top of the head and kills it. Apparently, I've tried. If anyone in the chat has ever tried to kill a snake, just bopping it in the head with something does not work. Okay.
Not a dark magic snake. Come on,
No.
guys.
Even if you were to cut that snake's head off, which he didn't do, he just hit it on the top of the head. The body would still be flailing around and moving. I don't, I don't understand what's going on.
No. You're right. You're right. And it's weird that this kind of needs to be said because like it shouldn't matter, but every now and then, in order for the audience to follow you on this narrative journey you're taking us, there's certain things that have to be explained. Connor getting stabbed by a blade, how? Is it
Was it
magic? You kind of have to give us a second where
something
like, yeah, a second where like Mother Mayhem's like, oh, this magic blade can penetrate anything. And if
before
we
she goes into battle? She should have been able to say, "We're gonna do something with this blade," and then hand it off to the person that eventually stabs him, for it to make any sense whatsoever, because he's impenetrable.
we just saw him Deathstroke's bullets bouncing off of him. His bullets don't penetrate him, but the blade does. Like you have to tell us why. I'm not it's like it's just so hard to follow you if you're not going to explain these things. Um
Are we just not? Are we not
Deathstroke
knowledgeable enough? Are there people who watch this like, oh, that's why? Like
uh
they just it's already assumed. Are we like ignorant on the topic? Because I don't want to like assume anything. I just feel like I know these characters pretty well, and when I'm watching this, I feel very lost, and that's like uncomfortable for me. I put it in the group
it
chat.
is.
I put it in the group chat. I was like, am I just like out of touch? Do I not know something? Are there a contingency of people who are watching this who are like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense? And if
No.
so, please, I want to watch it with you so I can learn something.
I promise you, like this is the fourth season, and I felt this way a number of times each season. And this is when they start jumping the shark, if you will,
Yeah,
in sort of ways. Like Zombie Deathstroke coming into the show. Listen, you and me agree is cool.
yeah.
How though?
How?
How? You have to like it takes 5 seconds for Mother Mayhem to say like, you know, I will give them a foe that they couldn't defeat or something like that. And then maybe her eye starts glowing like one eye because that was the way to defeat him is by removing the eye.
Yeah,
But
because that's
we
how you got.
don't know that. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
have to see we need our handheld at
yeah,
certain parts so that we
because
can come
they're
along for
important.
the ride.
How
They are
cool would it
important.
be if either Mother Mayhem herself or someone that she had doing her bidding came onto Deathstroke's lair, which is obviously super secret, it catches Deathstroke sort of off guard, and they have like a little bit of a conflict. The magic takes over. They take Deathstroke, even if that scene was like 3 minutes. But we were able to see how because Deathstroke is not an easy guy to just walk up and put your spell on. Okay, Deathstroke is about as capable as Batman is when you're functioning in this universe, and so you don't just like walk up on Deathstroke. He's not an easy guy to get. I mean, there would be. I just want to see at least a 3 minute little clip of how you even got him to be in that scenario, and that would have made it that much more impactful for me. But they just throw him in. It's almost like unnecessary fan service. It's like I don't know, Ted. And you know I was really hyped on this season, episodes 1 and 2, and you said it. You said it very clearly. This happens to us often. This happens to us often. I'm like, Ted, no, this is going to be
Call,
great. I
call,
told you. I said this is going to be great, Ted.
lower your expectations.
I think they got it now, but they don't. It's Charmed.
We're dealing with Trigon, a supernatural force, all powerful. It takes 3 seconds for like a portal of hell to open up, and you
Yeah,
see Deathstroke crawling out of it, and then we're good. Then we're like, hey, we don't need to know that much more about this guy. But
that was his way to get out of hell, whatever he was trapped in.
there you
Easy
go.
peasy. Just give us
It's
something.
it's the context. It's the context clues. It sucks that we have to say it because normally these things we don't have to talk about because they're already done in other projects. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know why this show continues to ignore it. Maybe they're giving the audience too much credit, but it takes you out of it. It takes you out of it when you're taking a leap that is larger than the realm of possibility that you're willing to go along with. Let's
Yeah,
talk about episode 5. Um, Mother Mayhem killing her friend in order to find
it's a sacrifice, I guess.
as a sacrifice, but like you kind of you need to tell us like this spell I can find anyone. It just requires payment. Payment of what? Payment of blood. Glah, glah, glah. And then we're good. But
But they
like,
could have thrown that into those earlier scenes they had with them, even in episode 3 of this season, where when they're kind of learning about everything, maybe there's some mumblings and rumblings of something they're reading about of if you want to know everything or find this thing, you'd have to sacrifice the ultimate person or something. Just you could have led us into that a little bit more. She just sort of threw it over the edge. It's it's insane to me, Ted. We watch a lot of content, and it's hard to keep up with all of it. I got to be honest with you. Ever since I started with the Geekcast, it is it is a lot more than this 1 hour every week. You have to really invest time to watch these shows and remember them. This is the hardest show for me to jump back into that I have seen in a long time. And I remember I didn't like She-Hulk. You remember that, right?
I remember that. I remember that.
I was able to easily jump back into every episode of the She-Hulk. I knew where we were. I knew what the stakes were. I knew everything about the characters and everything about the show. I don't know if it's just me. I have like a mental block when watching Titans, where it's like even as I'm watching it, I feel like I'm forgetting it.
You're not wrong. It's so weird. They have not figured out their style of storytelling. It's just so I don't want to say incoherent, but maybe convoluted. It's so convoluted. It's so hard to keep on track with what they're doing and who's involved with what. It's
I'm gonna
bizarre.
watch the next episode. I'm
It's
gonna watch the
bizarre.
next episode for sure.
We have to, but it's gonna be more of this. I already know it. It's like once you've opened that door, there's no going back. Like
It's charmed.
it's
It's
happened
charmed.
it's happened every season, and now we've gone over that hill. We've gone into that tunnel, and there's no getting out now.
Mhm.
Legacy Nerd says, "Yeah, I was confused when Raven decapitated that one dude. I was
It
like,
looked like
that
a
looked like
murder,
a murder, not a zombie kill."
dude. That's dead ass right. Legacy. That's dead ass. Because there were
Dead
some of those
ass.
kills in there that were not like just, oh, we have to do this for the sake of doing it. There were some of them that were like, I'm killing you. And I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where the hell I'm at in this side of the show. I'm more confused than the time I had my first girlfriend. I think I was more confident where that relationship was going than I am with where we are with the damn Titans, dude. I have no clue where to put my hands. I don't know.
I'm gonna try and get over this one part. You've
Yeah,
already talked about it. Garfield Logan, Beast Boy, turns into
the
a
virus
virus, and
with
and
no explanation as to how
no
that's possible.
no explanation how he goes into it. They don't show us. They don't explain how he comes out. They're just like, okay, it's gonna work. And I'm like, no, you can't do this. Nobody does
That's a
this.
leap. That's
Too
such a
big of a
leap.
leap. Too big of a leap.
Well, I
The
think maybe I think they've done that in some Ant-Man stuff before, where he could shrink down so small that he could go inside somebody's body and do something, right?
Sure.
That's we've seen. Have you ever seen the Magic School Bus? I mean, we've seen like heroes be able to enter the human body. The way though that they did this was insane. It seemed really oddly timed with the coronavirus. The image on the screen is the coronavirus.
So weird. It's so odd. It's so
And he's
odd.
like, all he has to do is replicate. It's like, and now we're watching them
What are you
watching a
talking
screen of
about?
something. Okay, so yeah, now he just has to surround the snake. What do you mean? What is
What are
this
you
the
talking
plan?
about?
And then the snake contracts and then jumps out of his mouth after he convulses, and then Tim Drake just hits the snake on the head and it's over. What are we doing here?
The only thing that I can think of that was any sort of inspiration for this really off the wall idea was an episode of the animated show Teen Titans. There is an episode of Teen Titans where Cyborg has a virus, and then Gar, Beast Boy, you could see the photo below, actually has to shrink down in size to actually help Cyborg with this virus. So that's the only thing. That's the only thing that I can think of. Now, if it's happened in the comics where Beast Boy has turned into a germ in order to save a member of the team, I will give you that. But it's so weird to put it in a live action series
And
where we're still learning his powers. He's still learning what animals he can turn
all,
into.
they took this again. I'm telling you, all of this is taken from the Magic School Bus. There's an episode where Miss Frizzle has to tell Arnold
Yep,
about
yep, yep.
reasons why that they need to go inside the human body to teach him about a cold. That's what the whole episode of Magic School Bus was about. And there's been a lot of cartoon series that have used this since Dexter's Laboratory, even the Young Justice. There's been a lot of people who've used this idea of shrinking down and going inside the body to like fix a problem. Um, I don't have that isn't too much of a stretch for me. The stretch for me is has Beast Boy ever turned into a cellular object before, not just a
Never.
mammal? I think,
Never.
or never. Does he need a little bit of training to do that? He was a little bit worried. He was apprehensive. I have a plan to get in, but I don't have a plan to get out. There was no like testing about this whatsoever. And now he just needs to know how to go. It just the whole thing seemed really weird. At least Miss Frizzle told Arnold how the human body worked and why it made sense what they were doing before they went into the human body. Miss Frizzle had that respect for us as an audience on the Magic fucking School Bus, but we could not get that from the writers and the producers of the Titans. to at least explain to us how the magic school bus is going to go inside of this body. They didn't give us any bit of that. Miss Frizzle did. I just want to point that out. She did.
There you go. There you go. Miss Frizzle is the blueprint. Magic School Bus is the blueprint. Absolutely. Here's the last thing that I'll say like was super confusing was we have the one snake already come out of Connor, right? And then the
Yeah.
thing starts running loose. And then we have
Well, it comes out of the toilet.
another right, and then it starts going everywhere.
Yeah. So you're saying there's two?
That's what I want to know. Is the
Because
other
I'm
one still
confused.
on the loose?
That's what I was going to bring up. So when he was stabbed, did a snake enter his body from that stab point?
But then he
No,
threw
right?
it up.
Exactly. But
Yes.
now you have the snake roaming around. Is there two snakes? Is there one snake? We have the snake come out of the toilets. I don't know, Ted. I don't.
And we're never gonna get an answer. We're never gonna get an answer. I'm
It's
with you.
hilarious.
I'm
That's
with
hilarious.
you. It's odd, and I really want to love this show. I like all the characters. Like your casting is down tight. You know what I mean? Your casting is down tight. It's just like why can't we I mean look, we're only halfway through the season, I think. So maybe we end up in a satisfying place. But if we don't, we really need to bring it down on the villains that we're going up against. Let's start going up against like some soldiers, some gangs. Like let's dial it back a little bit. We're going against like superpowered people and it gets all messy and stuff and we're having to try and keep up and whatnot. Like Connor should have handled these zombies in like 5 seconds flat. The dude has super speed. You've already shown us that this season, and yet
He's
like
impenetrable.
he's impenetrable. It's so weird, and I hate
He
that we
should have
got
flat
here.
out. Well, it's there. This show also has a little bit of a problem, and that's a Dick Grayson problem. It's
Oh
he's too in control of some of these fucks.
yeah,
I mean, at some point, he's got to step aside and realize, and I get why he's positioned this way. I get why writers would say that because that's kind of how Batman was with the Justice League. Like, I don't have superpowers, you all do, but what I say kind of goes because I'm smarter than all of you. I don't know that Dick Grayson has that Bruce Wayne respect yet, where he knows everything. I also think that maybe there are some times where he could just say, "Hey, Connor, just take care of these guys, and I'm going to keep everybody over here safe, and we're cool." I don't really love Dick Grayson's character right now. I think he's like big dogging around on everybody and he's acting like he's in charge, but he's not making good leadership decisions when things come down. Just like what happened when we had the zombies. I think Connor could have just scooped through there. Raven could have scooped through there. Beast Boy could have scooped through there. He doesn't have any superpowers, so maybe you shouldn't be calling the freaking shots and let some of these people do a little bit of what they can do. They could have handled almost every situation we've been in so far. We didn't need Dick Grayson leading a single hand in it, except for maybe trying to get Connor away from Lex Luthor. Oh wait, that didn't work either. Maybe, maybe Dick needs to take a step back for a second.
remember, remember when Lex died? I'm just like, okay, this could be okay, or it could already be a cause for concern. Now we know it's
Yeah,
already a cause for
I
concern.
thought he was immediately back. I thought it was for sure going to be staged. I'm still not off that theory yet.
Well,
That
you know what we're
maybe
gonna
all of
get.
this is to bring him back as sort of a god or something.
You know what we're gonna get.
What?
Zombie Lex Luthor.
Mm, my gosh, I can't wait.
Oh God.
But honestly, Ted, I'm totally lost in this series. But just like my first relationship, like I compared this to before, where I'm sort of gung ho about it, but I'm completely lost. I'm gonna ride it out to the end. I'm not gonna give up on it until it breaks up with me. If it's just I think that there is potential here. I like a lot of the stuff we're going on, and every time I say it, you haven't agreed with me yet. But every time I say it, you laugh. Once we get rid of this charm shit, I think that we actually have a really good superhero story here.
We'll see, man. I I'm I am already in my weirded out mental phase with this show 5 episodes in, and I don't want to be. I really don't. I don't want to be. I would rather just be excited and be engaged with where we're going.
It could be
I
really easy too. It could be really easy for that to happen.
We just got a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special where the whole story is about kidnapping Kevin Bacon, and it makes sense. You know,
It
it
makes
makes 100% sense.
canonology, like it makes sense, and it makes sense in everything.
And we can't make sense of just like the supermart employees being possessed because we don't know if they're possessed or if they're zombies.
They need to take weed completely out of that writers' room. They need to ban marijuana from the writers' room and just let them actually. I think they've just gotten a little too deep. And I am an indulger from time to time. I'm not judging anybody for anything, but we're having a hard time connecting ideas over here. It's almost like you're a substitute teacher, and on Tuesdays you're with the accelerated class, and on Wednesdays you're with sort of the special needs class, and that's kind of what it feels a little bit between Marvel and DC right now, where one person is really accelerating and coming up with incredibly good ideas and tying things together you never thought, and the other person is cute and you love them and everything, but you're helping them sort of trying to get grasp on ideas. And so I just think that DC is just they're not connecting ideas right now at all. They're just they have this weird lightsaber battle between an idea and production that they're just they can't get through, and
We,
I'm confused about it because
we
is the character library is so deep.
yeah, I mean that could be it, right? It's really strange when we start diving into these really sea level characters and trying to expand on what they can do. Look, you can't expand on ideas until you build a foundation on what is already like established and what is known, and
Which is
then you
why
can
you're a
start.
Snyder guy. That's which is why you're a Snyder guy.
I
He did
mean,
that. He
he
started it.
did that. He did
Yeah.
that. He started that. To this day, and I don't want to go on a tangent here, but to this day, somebody actually put up a photo of Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman, and he's actually got a monitor on of Clark fighting Zod, and he's got a video of the two of them fighting. And then the exact same move that Clark does, like a punch or a jab or something, happens in Batman v Superman, and then Bruce actually counters it and like takes him down with a move. So it's just like it doesn't even have to be said, but there's so many like details where if you pay attention, like things really start making sense. And so I don't need this show to get on that level where like everything has meaning, but at least like get on a peacemaker level,
Why
get
haven't we
on.
seen them? Why haven't we seen them to this point, Ted? In this nice ass RV they have, pull up to a crime scene. Every one of them's in suit, looking badass, and they just go in and handle something that they've been looking to do. Where all of them are working, where it's like a very miniature version of Endgame, where it's all of them are coming out and they're working together and they're doing their thing. We want the story, we want the lore behind it, we want a reason for this um, ultimate situation to happen for sure. But at some point, that situation has to happen. At some point, we need to see Beast Boy, Raven, Nightwing, Superboy, you know, Tim Drake. We need to see them all going in and working together, suited and booted, and laying the hammer down. And this show has just right out refused that altogether.
It is odd, man. It is so odd.
It's Scooby Doo. They never bust the ghosts together. They always have to split up.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep. And then Shaggy and Scooby do all the legwork. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah,
You're
it's
right.
just Scooby Doo and
It's
Charm.
odd. It's Charmed. And Z Nation. Z Nation
Z
somehow
Nation,
got
Charmed,
involved.
Smallville. If you were to cross all of those things together,
It's bizarre, and I warned you. I tried to not
you are
spoil
good.
it. I tried to warn you in a very subtle way, but yeah, no, we're completely there now. It's we're in weird town, Oddville, whatever you want to call it. We want to hear from you guys. Maybe you are enjoying DC Titans a little bit more than we are, which is completely fine.
Yeah,
Help
we love
us,
you.
will
Either way,
you?
we love you.
Help us. You're doing a great job. Let us know what your thoughts are about DC Titans episode 4 and episode 5. Where do you see this season ending? We're supposed to be close to Armageddon, but like it doesn't feel like it, right? It
At
doesn't feel
all.
like it at all. The moon has been red for like days now, and I don't know if there's a countdown or whatever. There's no drama. There's no tension. Whoo! It's very
Superman is
strange.
still saving something else.
Yeah,
If the
Superman's
Earth
across the
if
galaxy.
if the Earth is facing ultimate destruction, you figured like his attention would actually be here, not somewhere else. But you know, I, at some point they have to make it make sense.
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
and also, new T-shirts are coming out to Redbubble. Geekcast is going to be Superman is not a bum dad because he's not.
There you go. Absolutely. We need that. There's a few characters that we're missing from previous seasons. How long before we see them? I feel like they should have been back by now, but you know what? I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, we want to hear from you. Let us know what you thought about Titans, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, or Andor. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. No, nothing is wrong. No comment is wrong. We're all just here to enjoy the content. If you're listening to this on the podcast form of this show, you can also email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdownstothegeekcast.com or visit our link tree page. You can find that on our Instagram or our Twitter page. Our Twitter page at ccg underscore podcast. Visit our link tree where you can find links to all podcast downloading apps. You can also find our merch store. We showed it earlier. I might as well show it again. For a very limited time, I'm talking maybe in the next 12 to 24 hours, you can grab yourself some Geekcast merch. We have inspired items from Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, Indiana Jones, wrestling. What else? There's one I'm missing. Oh, Star Wars. How can I forget Star Wars? Go check out the merch store. There's hats, phone cases. There's office items. There's drink coasters. Go get yourself a drink coaster. Why don't you? With our logos on it, and check out the new WrestleCast shirts that are being presented on the screen right now. Everything is 20 to I want to say 50% off. Some items are up to 50% off, but check that out. The link is also in the chat if you're with us right now. How could I forget Star Wars? I have no idea.
It's a great shirt. I'm
It is
telling
a
you,
fantastic shirt. Yeah.
it's a great
So
shirt.
go check out the merch store. We appreciate anything you've purchased. Shout out to everybody who's already purchased items. Somebody actually did buy the Star Wars shirt over the weekend. So shout out to whoever purchased the Star Wars
It's
shirt.
great. And
I
if you
hope
don't
I hope you're
know
happy with it.
the when you buy it, there is some Mandalorian writing at the very bottom. It's very subtle to see, but it's a hidden Easter egg. So once you receive
Ooh.
it, message the Geekcast and ask us what it means, and we'll tell you.
Speaking of Mandalorian, it's hard to tell, but I got my buddy Moff Gideon right here. Check that out.
Nice.
Giancarlo, I see you, sir.
I
Get you
feel
to
like I
sign
have.
this.
I feel like I
Get you to
have the
sign
Star
this
Wars
for me
figures.
the next time we meet, hopefully. Jonah Kenobi says, sold. Absolutely, brother. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Geekcast in the Star Wars font. Check that out. Different
Yeah.
colors. Pick your color, pick your T-shirt style.
Yeah, and we have a special message. It's right here in the Mandalorian code. So definitely check out that Geekcast shirt. It's sick. You gotta grab one of these. It's a great quality. I would recommend the premium brand. I got the little bit of the cheaper version, and I thought that was going to be a good idea. Uh, in hindsight, now I would have went up to the premium. That extra softness on the cotton, the way it forms on the shoulders. Um, I would have went with the premium options. So if you are looking to go and do that, spend the extra $3. I would. It doesn't help us
Yeah,
that much. We'd make 30 cents on that, but do yourself the favor and and spend the extra $3.
absolutely. I need to get me an athletic shirt like Scotty did. Scott Eagle got the Ghostbuster one in the athletic like dry fit material. I need one of those. So I might as well pick one up today if I can. But yeah,
Yeah, and I'm going to be getting into the hat game here. I'm working with a guy that we've kind of been interacting with named Jamie, and I'm working on some embroidery. We're going to get some Geekcast hats coming out very soon, so stay on the lookout on for some new cool things that we can do. But in the meantime, support us. It's 40% off. Get a Countdown City phone case, dude. That's a drink coaster. I see that. I wish that was a wallet. What if we had wallets that look like that, Ted?
wallets would be cool. That's actually a mouse pad.
That's a mouse pad.
That's a mouse pad.
Yeah, and the real Geekcasters. That's a good
It,
logo there.
it's so good in that blue. It's so good. That's the blue I have it in on my shirt.
I like the WrestleCast one too, man. That one should be selling. There should be at least 10 of those sold right now, guys. If you like wrestling, grab one of those. One of the longest
Absolutely.
running podcasts in the genre.
Joe Kenobi says, "Ooh, I'm all about the softness." very,
Well,
very nice.
General, is General Downey's bunker. Soft, soft, baby. That
There you
softener.
go. Want to appreciate everybody for watching. We've had a blast. Appreciate all you guys. Be sure to join us tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 9:30 Eastern. That's 6:30 Pacific. Where we have our Ghost Heads radio show, and we're going to be talking all about the nationwide Ghostbusters Toy Drive that we are kicking off and launching tomorrow. So join us on a very special episode of the Ghost Heads radio show tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Me and Maddie B, maybe a special guest, maybe one or two. We'll let you know. But we're kicking off the nationwide Ghostbusters Toy Drive. We're going to talk about all the chapters involved. We're going to talk about the dates, the locations where you can find them. And we're ready. We're ready to put in the work,
Believe
put in
you.
the time. We're ready to believe you. We're ready to put in the time. We're ready to put in the work. We want this to be a successful toy drive, and it's going to be all because of you guys out there. So we hope to see you very soon, and we'll let you know when you can find the Ghostbusters of San Antonio out in the community where you can meet us and take some photos and donate some toys to some great causes. Sound good? Absolutely. Jenna Kenobi says, "Oh, spin-off idea. Ha ha ha. I review softness of Star Wars shirts."
Which General I think is a subtle troll because you're saying our Star Wars shirt is soft. So I take offense to that, just so you know. I get what
technically,
you're going.
you said it was soft, the material, and then
Yeah,
he
but I
followed
was
suit.
talking about the material. I think we were getting a little bit in there, General. So we're gonna have to talk about that later.
We'll do that definitely. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. As always, we appreciate your support. We have some movie reviews out on our YouTube channel. Go check it out right now. The Fableman is out there with our buddy Brian Ortiz. Also, on the audio podcast, you can download our Halloween Ends review as well as our Black Panther Wakanda Forever review. Those are now out on podcast form. Apologies for those taking too long, but you can go find those now. All right, we should end the show. For the Geekcast, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me as always, my partner in crime, the one and only Matty B. Enough said.
That's it.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.